I'm Jamie Rose, and I'm here with Phil Stutz, my mentor, the brilliant shrink, the mensch. And he had the idea that it might be really nice to do some short video chats during this time of societal unrest and social isolation. So today we're going to talk about depression.
Listen very carefully, again, because everything is keyed off the quarantine and the limitations, and the social distancing is a huge thing also. It's not just a problem that one person has or a specific problem you have. That is doable. This is a problem with the whole universe. It's like with the whole world. And we're not accustomed to that. And it scares the shit out of us, because the things that we have habitually relied on to give us some sense of security are being either weakened or taken away from us altogether. The future for the moment has been taken away. Any sense of certainty, that's been taken away. Any idea that you know what's going on has been taken away. So with everything being taken away, how do you avoid getting depressed? Now, and this is very important, because what you'll find is, to a large degree, no matter how bad this thing is, you'll live through it. 97% of people will live through it, even the ones that get sick. So it's doable. But what I say is, what you have to do is simple, but very difficult. The model for depression is actually death itself. It's like, we've gone this far and we can't go any further. That's it. Now, disillusionment is different. Disillusionment says, what I thought was going to help me, what I thought was going to rescue me, what I thought was special, magical, super powerful, has been taken away. I haven't been taken away. My free will hasn't been taken away. But the illusion that I was carrying around with me, that's been taken away. Now, and if you work through this, then you'll eventually become more skeptical about we call it the realm of illusion, about all your magic tricks. And one way to say it is, during this quarantine period, your magic tricks, your ability to avoid things, your ability to lie to yourself, it's all going to be taken away. It's like truth serum. And that's not a bad thing it's not a bad thing if you know what to replace it with. Now, what we're talking about, so let's go back to a depression. So you're feeling depressed, you don't know which way to go, you're not sure you want to be on earth anymore, et cetera, et cetera. Now, so what you need, the first thing you need, and I had a big argument with psychiatry for years over this. Now everybody's in agreement about it. The first thing you do is you have to make them, or get them to have some hope. And you cannot cause someone to become hopeful, even a little bit, by talking to them. It just doesn't work. And you want to make this very concrete. People don't do things, especially when they're depressed, unless it's absolutely concrete what it is that they need to do. So in this case, I just think of it as a pyramid, and it's a pyramid of 3 levels of the life force. And for a depressed person, if you can get them to feel that there's a way for them to increase their life force, it changes everything. Again, it makes them hopeful. Now, but the key of the whole thing is, here's what's involved for you. Number 1 is your relationship with your physical body. And that means you must exercise, you must leave the house, you must at the very least walk, and you need to walk fairly rigorously. I believe that the aerobic part of this needs to be done every day, but at least do it 4 or 5 times a week. If your schedule is so busy, try to walk a little faster, try to park your car a little bit, further away from, well, you're probably not going anywhere, so that.
You could pretend you live in a different house and run to that house, and then remember, oh shit, I don't live here, and then run back.
So anyway, so exercise is a big thing. Sleep is a huge thing, and you want to try to be regimented about your sleep as best as possible. And food, obviously, and anything else you can think of a physical nature. The reason for that is, these are things that we can affect immediately. And they're markers or metrics that anybody can do. Anybody can walk around the block. So not only is there a biochemical advantage to this, and it changes the neuroreceptors and et cetera, but there's also a sense of accomplishment. So anyway, that's the bottom of your triangle, which is your relationship to your physical body. It's very important. The middle, let's say the second level of this thing, is your relationship with other people. And at the very least, and again, this is really important, you're not allowed to withdraw either from your family or your close friends or your relatives. You're just not allowed to do it. Don't think about it. Just pick up the phone and make the connection. And this has to be worked on probably literally every day. Now, there are certain disadvantages because of social distancing, right? So we can either let that depress us more. Oh, I like to have my support system, but I can't right now, and I might not see them in person for 6 months. Think of it as a challenge. You want to learn to create, we call it a social matrix. So now we got your body taken care of and your social needs. Now the last thing is yourself, your relationship to yourself. What will help you with your relationship with yourself is writing. I don't mean writing the great American novel, which I'm personally writing right now anyway, so don't waste your time on that. You want to let your unconscious speak through writing. And again, it sounds trite in Southern California. It works every time. And basically, if you know about your shadow, I don't know how many people are watching this now, then you can talk to your shadow and write down what the shadow says. But if you even write down loose ideas and associations that you're having, it will help you because, see, when you write something, it says it has value. It's at least valuable enough to record it, to write it down.
When I first worked with you 30 years ago, you talked to me about that also it's important to handwrite versus typewrite. Back then it was typewriters or computer. Do you still feel that way now?
Yeah, for this I do, yeah.
Yeah. Why is it more healing to write with your hand than with your computer or typewriter?
Oh, because your hands, especially the palms of your hands, are very sensitive. So it becomes almost like a conduit between the ideas you're writing about and the genesis of the ideas inside yourself. So the hand and the fingers actually become vehicles for that. Or if you want to say it differently, writing by hand puts you deeper into the dirt.
I like it.
Deeper into
and we mean deeper into the subconscious, or what's deeply inside of you, deeply into the earthiness.
So here's the thing about depression. If you do this while you're depressed, you'll come out with things that you wouldn't have understood or come out with before. And the reason is that depression knocks down and knocks out the thinking mind pretty much altogether. So it's like there's somebody else inside there, and it's almost thrilling if something comes out that is coherent. One part of writing is to write your dreams down. If you have no idea what a dream means, write it down anyway. If you want to assign the dream some idiosyncratic meaning that your third grade teacher told you, do it. You just want to get the process going, especially at first. But the idea is something valuable is happening in your relationship with yourself during a depression, at least potentially if you pay attention to it. People don't like to, they don't know how to do it, they think bullshit, whatever, but it's not. And if you really want to use the writing, the other thing you can do is called nightly review. And basically that's just writing down, what did I commit to yesterday or earlier today? And then did I keep my promise? And nightly review is just it's a record of that. So you can keep my promise or not. Keeping your promise to yourself is so crucial, because what it does is it actually activates the higher self, because your higher self only cares about forward motion, and it only will trust you if you keep the commitments that you make. And I make a commitment that I keep the commitment, which means to take action. So it's commitment, action, commitment, action, commitment, action. And that starts to harness the will. All these things I've done with people so depressed that they could have jumped out the window. And it's worked literally every time. It's almost like...
And so you started this talk by talking about giving them hope. So does the combination of these three things, the relationship to your body through exercise, diet, your connection to other people, through even Zoom meetings, making phone calls to friends and family, and then your relationship to yourself, which has a lot to do with honoring your commitment to yourself. Do these things create hope, or is there some other way other thing you do to help give someone hope?
What's going to give somebody hope is the ability to take some of these steps while they're depressed. The smallest thing they can do for themselves, even if it's like that big, actually tends to build up hope. There's another hierarchy, a scale, which it doesn't start with hope. It starts with faith on the bottom. So it's a state of mind in which you have faith, absolutely independent of evidence, independent of logic. I have faith because I want to. No other. If you need more proof than that, then it's not faith, then it's proof, which has a different function. So for our purposes, faith means faith that the universe cares about you, faith that you're not, because our model of the universe is a bunch of basically rocks, asteroids floating around that don't know we exist, couldn't care less, and have no awareness. They're not sentient beings, they're just rocks. That leaves you alone in the universe. So faith means I reject that model. I have faith that the universe is alive, that it cares about me, that it wants me to do these things, that it wants me to recover, that I have a mission, that what I do has some meaning. None of this, you can't gather any of this or feel any of it based on logic. You just have to want to feel it.
I always say that that I have faith on faith, and that faith isn't something you understand. If you can understand it, it's not faith, right? And then even if I've had friends and clients who are atheists, and you can still act like you have faith. There's no downside.
That's right. And then the final step in that pyramid is confidence. And again, it's not confidence because I know something good is going to come out of this. It's not even confidence because I know I'm going to improve, clinically. It's confidence because you're not alone, so that there's some higher force that cares about what you do. And that creates meaning, which is the most important thing.
So again, to go over this model Phil's talking about, the base of it is faith. The next is action. So what is that adage, faith without works is dead, right? So just decide, I'm going to have faith, and take an action, even if it's brushing your teeth in the morning. When you're depressed, even those things are almost impossible to do. But if you can just do that one thing, it creates sort of a energy toward doing another thing, and it builds confidence. If you've decided to do it and you fulfill it, it begins to build confidence.
Yeah.
I want to restate why disillusionment is actually good.
Oh, because disillusionment means that the false things that you had you trusted. Disillusionment means they've been unmasked. The emperor has no clothes.
The example we were talking about earlier about before we started this chat about disillusionment is, let's say you had a big wedding planned or a big 60th birthday party, and suddenly you can't have it, and one can be depressed, like the magic is gone, and that can create disappointment. But if that disappointment seeps into depression, that's different. And the gift of this time is we learn how to live with disappointment. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about the gift of this disillusionment.
It's a gift of responsibility. In other words, people that get disillusioned, they say, "Oh, I thought I was going to get into Brown University or Yale, and I didn't. Now what's going to become of me?" It sounds ridiculous, but if you don't get that, If you don't get that, it's the best thing that could possibly happen to you. Why? Because then you're on your own and you have to create your own future. Disillusionment changes your view of the world itself, which means the world isn't as magical. So, and that is depressing at first, but once you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and say, okay, the world isn't magical, I have to create the magic now. Then you become more interested in stuff like, what are my personal habits? How do I develop more courage? How do I relate to people better? How do I take risks, et cetera, et cetera? Because you know that you're not going to get it from outside. It's just not possible.
That's such a great way to end this, because, you know, that's how what Phil started saying at the beginning of this, we can use this situation as a way to actually grow.
Yeah.
Phil, thank you once again for sharing your time with us. You know, what can I say, but I love you and you're awesome. So if you have questions for Phil or me, send emails to jamie@jamierosecoaching.com, and we'll see you next time.
You know what this is?
What is it?
Disco hand.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like information about working with me individually, you can contact me at jamie@jamierosecoaching.com.